Welcome back, gamers. Today we're going to check out the dice rolling wizard battling game Seasons. Now, Seasons is a beautiful game for 2 to 4 players. And of course, if you already know how to play it and know what's in the game, you can click on it to jump right to my conclusions. Otherwise, let's find out what you get in the box and how you play the game.
It's board games with PeedMont.
Inside of this very large, beautiful box for Seasons, you'll find a really nice, full-color, extremely large rule book. There's obviously a lot going on in this game, but it goes through everything you need to know and actually goes over questions about each and every card in the game, which is kind of handy if you have any questions. We're going to have a big round seasons and year track. We'll have the infamous score chart. We have a bunch of multicolored dice. We have cubes of different colors and energy tokens. We have 2 different stacks of these beautiful cards that have a bunch of information on them. Very cool. And then we'll also finally have some tokens for keep track of for your cards, what year they're for, and some player boards that keep track of your stars, points, and how many energy tokens you have. It's kind of cool. They go in these little slots. Very nice. To start off with, each player is going to get 9 of these cards. This is a spell or familiar cards that you're going to play throughout the game. You're going to take a look at your hand of 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're going to pick one, and then you're going to hand the rest of them off to somebody on the left. So basically you have a drafting element to start the game. This is kind of neat. It lets you really kind of customize what your gameplay is going to end up being like, which is really nice because a lot of these cards combo together really well, and if you can set up a really nice combo that works throughout the seasons, you have a really nice feel, and it feels really fun and engaging. Afterwards, you're going to set up the season and year board, and you're going to take a number of dice equal to 1 plus the number of players. So in a 3-player game, in this case I'm in the first season of the first year, so we're on the blue. I guess that may be winter. I'm not quite sure. That makes sense, I guess. And you would take 3 blue dice, so for 2 players, 2 plus 1 extra. And the first player is going to give those 3 large chunky dice a roll. And they're going to have the first choice of which of these dice they're going to choose. So now we have a bit of a dice drafting game. Each dice has 6 different sides that have a number of different, I guess, currency on them. Some of them will just be basically plain with some of the tokens. So in this case I would get 2 blue energy tokens and also a star. Stars basically determine how many spells you can have out at one time. Some of them just give you points, so this one will give you 6 points. Some of them have the transmutation symbol, which lets you turn in extra energy tokens for points. And I think, where's the other one? It's not on this one, but some other ones have just the card symbol, which lets you draw another card. So from the beginning, you can start off with those 9 cards. That's basically all you're going to have, and maybe if you want more, if you've cast all of them or gotten really lucky and got them all out, you might take one of these to draw an extra card. Now the extra dice that will be left over for the 2-player, like I said, there'll be 3 dice and one of them will be left over. You look at these little dots on the bottom, and that's how far the season tracker will move. And that's how you can get through the years by keeping track of this. So you might want to take something for the energy. You might want to take something for the ability to turn some energy in for points. You might need to take one for the star so you can put out a new card. Or you might take one just so that you leave maybe 3 moves to the season tracker so that you can end the game early if you're ahead. So there's always a bunch of different decisions you have to make about which dice you're going to pick. And of course, once you move into the next season, you're going to have a whole new set of dice that you can grab from the tray to do new energies and have new abilities on them. Now once everyone's rolled and selected their dice and gotten their energy, the first player gets to play some of their spells. And each one of these cards has something unique. It has a different number of costs, so this one costs 3 green energies, and it gives you a number of points at the end of the game. This one gives you 9 at the end of the game, which is really nice. But it's significantly more complicated than that. This one says you gain 3 crystals, which are points in this game, whenever you summon a power card. So whenever you bring a new spell out, you get another 3 points. So this one can work really well if you have some other cards that let you draw more cards, or you have some other cheap ones that just come out easily. And every card is like this, that they can be built upon with other cards. And you have these really fun combinations if you're able to pull them off, if you're able to get them in the draft, or if you're able to be lucky and draw them later in the game. After you complete 3 years of this, 3 big cycles of the seasons, you count up all the points that you have on your cards, every other card abilities, and whoever has the most points wins. And that very briefly is Seasons. Now there's a lot more going on. I didn't feel the need to spend the entire time explaining all of the rules in the game because there is a lot of stuff going on and I can go over every single card, but that's kind of for you to discover. Now, as usual, I'll talk a little bit about some of my critiques. Just FYI, I actually really enjoy this game. I think it's really, really fun and really amazing, but there are a few little things I think could be tweaked. And so I guess the first and major one is the drafting element, the card drafting element at the beginning of the game seems very strange to me. I like this idea that maybe you're spying on the other wizards or you have some idea what's going on, but I don't understand why I'm actually giving my spells that I have to my opponent. It doesn't seem to maybe break the immersion for me. I kind of thought it would be neat if there was a mechanism where maybe every player put out 4 cards and they had a handful of tokens 1 through 4, and everyone secretly picks one of those tokens and then they all reveal at some point. So you have some idea what your opponents might be planning, but you can't actually adjust in real time. You've already decided what card you're going to take. And I like that idea of trying to build up your own strategy and trying to maybe make one that defends against your opponents, but this weird mechanism of giving what I have in my hand to someone else is strange. And the 2-player is really nice, and the game really works well, but especially that part, after the first switch, you know all the cards that are going to be there, and you can kind of almost count out exactly what's going to happen, drafting-wise, which doesn't seem like it's necessary. But I mean, I like the idea, it just doesn't seem perfect. The second critique that I have is this, everyone kind of has, is the scoreboard. It doesn't, because of this neat shape, I mean, I like the shape and I like the aesthetic, but because of the weird shape, you don't have nice rows of 10, which can make tracking a little bit difficult when you're sitting there looking, wait, where's the next number I need to go to? I was on 4 and I added 10 points. I should be able to find 14 easily, but it's not where I would think it would be. And that's a kind of a minor gripe, but you know, it does happen. The only other issue is that you actually have your cubes of your color on here also, on this really nice board. But it is a little slippery, and when I'm rolling these big, 3, 4, 5 of these big, I think they're like 15 millimeter dice, things can get shaken around because they can roll all over the place and knock those points off very easily. And finally, this is kind of a strange critique, but in this game, as you get to that 3rd season, maybe you have 9 or 10 cards out, they're all interactive and they're all doing something at different times. It can be really difficult to keep track of everything that's going on. I've played maybe a dozen games of this, and every time I end the game thinking, oh shoot, I forgot to do this thing for 5 consecutive turns, that would have maybe won me the game. Now, I've played it on BoardGameArena.com, and that's really nice because it keeps track of all of these little interactions that are going automatically. But, I mean, for somebody, especially someone who's new to the game, trying to keep track of, this one gives me 3 points for everything in play, this one gives me an extra energy token when I play a card, and this one gives me 2 extra energy tokens for my opponent at the beginning of my turn. All that stuff going on for everybody can get really, really complicated. The other little thing that comes with that is that they call points crystals and energy something else. It can be a little confusing that way too. However, I think the game is super fun. I'm kind of looking forward to maybe purchasing some of the expansions. One of them adds a new type of dice, which is really cool. And all of them add a bunch of new cards and more layers and more interactions, which is really cool. It also comes with kind of the base set comes with a base kind of beginner's cards, and then some advanced ones, which really bump up the complexity really quickly, which is really fun. I think it's really fun. It works 2 players, 3 players, or 4 players really well, and it has a really different feel to it. You have card drafting, you have points and wizards battling, you have big dice rolling, which is really fun, and the artwork is amazing. It's really, really beautiful, really well done. And then almost one of my favorite things is the insert in it is great. Everything fits perfectly. I mean, I could take this somewhere and not worry about all the pieces flying all over the place. It all fits in here really nice, and it has a little extra room for some of the expansion stuff too, which is really great planning. If you're interested in something a little bit different, kind of have this weird Harry Potter feel of maybe the Goblet of Fire, this kind of battle going on, I really recommend checking it out. It's a lot of fun and went well with your money.